The message came through Earth's deep space relay at midnight UTC. The signal was clean, official, and unmistakably alien. For the first time in history, the Galactic Council had formally invited Earth to its central assembly. It was not expected. For decades, Earth had remained neutral, quietly building, exploring, and advancing without interference. The galaxy had noticed humanity's progress, but no one had ever acknowledged it. Until now, the president of Earth's unified government, Lara Miles, stared at the glowing message on her holo display. Around her, top advisors, generals, and scientists waited for her decision. One line stood out in bold alien script, translated by Earth's AI. "You are invited to stand before the council and receive formal recognition among the stars." A long silence filled the room. Then she spoke. "We'll send Jackson Reeve." Jackson was a former fleet commander, known for leading Earth's forces during the Europa conflict. Calm under pressure, respected, strategic, and not one to be easily intimidated. Within hours, Jackson was briefed, suited in a diplomatic uniform, and placed aboard the TSS Resolve, a sleek Terran vessel equipped with top-level stealth and defense systems. The journey to the Council's central station, Verulan Vis 6, would take 6 days using quantum folds. Inside his private quarters, Jackson reviewed centuries of galactic politics. The Council was made up of powerful alien races, most of whom saw humans as an upstart species, too wild and unpredictable to trust. He knew the invitation was more than it appeared. As the stars shifted around his ship, he thought about what awaited him. Long, echoing halls filled with species older than humanity's recorded history. Voices speaking in arrogance, eyes watching every move. 6 days later, the Resolve exited fold space near Verulan 6. The station was massive, an artificial ring surrounding a white dwarf star, pulsing with energy. Alien ships of every shape and size orbited the platform like silent giants. Jackson stood at the viewing deck. Behind him, Commander El Navarro, his aide and security lead, spoke softly. "Still think this is diplomacy?" Jackson didn't blink. "No, this is theater. Let's give them something worth watching." The docking bay opened. Terran boots stepped onto Council soil for the first time. The game had begun. The Grand Assembly Hall was unlike anything on Earth. It was a massive dome of polished black stone, suspended in artificial gravity at the heart of Verulan 6. Holographic banners floated in the air, glowing with the emblems of hundreds of alien civilizations. The air shimmered with temperature zones for different species, and a soft hum came from the language synchronizers, translating every sound in real time. Jackson Reeve walked calmly down the center aisle, flanked by 2 Earth security officers in formal black uniforms. His expression was neutral, but his eyes scanned everything: the exits, the guards, the looks of the alien delegates watching him like a curiosity. At the far end of the hall stood a tall, curved platform made of living crystal. On it sat the 12 high members of the Galactic Council. In the middle was Supreme Archon Kareth Zul, his skin a deep obsidian blue, robes flowing with golden threads that moved like smoke. His expression was cold, unreadable. "Human delegate," Kareth's voice echoed across the chamber, amplified by subtle tech. "You stand before the Council, not as a conqueror, but as a guest. You are to listen, not to speak, until we offer you the floor." Jackson said nothing. He simply gave a small nod and waited. Kareth continued. "Your kind has risen quickly, too quickly. It has alarmed many, but we are generous. We offer Earth recognition under guidance, of course." A murmur went through the chamber. Several species nodded in agreement. Others looked bored. A hologram appeared in the center of the hall. It showed the Council's proposed treaty. Earth would be granted a seat, but only as a junior member. Earth's space routes would be taxed. Human military production would be limited, and all Terran AI tech would be subject to Council review. El Navarro leaned toward Jackson and whispered, "This isn't a treaty, it's a leash." Jackson's jaw tightened, but he remained silent. Then came the speeches. One by one, Council members took turns delivering polite insults wrapped in formal language. The Solari ambassador, A being of glowing mist said, "Human aggression must be shaped into something manageable." The Vocari general, a reptilian warlord, added, "Your ships are fast, but speed without obedience is dangerous." Laughter echoed softly in the chamber. Kareth Sul smiled thinly. "You have promise," he said, "but you must be taught humility." At last, the floor was offered to Jackson. He stepped forward, standing alone before the most powerful beings in the galaxy. His voice, calm and strong, filled the hall. "Earth thanks the Council for its offer." He paused. "But we did not come here to beg for recognition." The hall went still. "We came to show you that the time of underestimating humanity is over." Gasps, whispers, shifting shadows. Jackson took one last look at the floating treaty document. Then he turned and walked away from it. Silence filled the Grand Assembly Hall. Jackson Reeves stood tall in the center, eyes focused, voice steady. Around him, alien leaders shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Some stared in disbelief, others in rising anger. "I reviewed your treaty," Jackson said, slowly turning to face the council members. "You offer Earth a seat at your table, but only with chains on our hands and limits on our future." Supreme Archon Kareth Sul narrowed his eyes. "You speak boldly, human, but your place in this chamber is a gift. Refuse it and you may not return." Jackson didn't flinch. "We didn't come to join under your terms. We came to speak as equals." He paused, then continued, letting each word land clearly. "Earth is no longer alone. We've grown stronger than you expected. We've watched, listened, and prepared. You thought we were silent because we were weak. We were silent because we were building." There were murmurs across the hall. Delegates whispered into translators. Some checked their data feeds. Kareth Sul rose from his seat. His towering figure loomed over the chamber. "You are overstepping, Reeve. Earth is nothing compared to the Zarnathi Empire, or the strength of the Council. Your defiance is dangerous." Jackson took a step forward. "Dangerous only to those who built power on the assumption that we would never rise." He raised his hand. A small device lit up in his palm, a communicator connected to the TSS Resolve in orbit. "Let me show you what Earth has become." He pressed a single button. Above the chamber, the holographic sky flickered. Images filled the dome. Massive Terran warships, sleek, dark, powerful, appeared in orbit around Virelin 6. Dozens, cloaked before, now revealed. Gasps echoed from every corner. Some delegates stood, others panicked. The Council security team sprang to alert. "These ships are here as a message," Jackson said calmly. "We don't need your approval. We don't need your pity. We came to declare something simple." Kareth shouted, "This is an act of aggression." Jackson replied, "No, this is an act of truth." He turned back to the treaty floating midair. Without hesitation, he raised his hand blaster and fired once. The hologram burst in sparks and vanished. "You will not decide Earth's fate," he said. "We will." He stepped away from the center, ignoring the outrage and alarm. The Galactic Council had just been challenged, and Jackson Reeve had become the first human to say no in the heart of galactic power. The chamber erupted. Council guards moved in, weapons drawn. Holographic warnings flashed red across the walls. Delegates shouted in different languages, some fearful, some furious. The Council had never been defied like this, certainly not by a human. Supreme Archon Kareth Sul raised both hands, signaling for calm. His voice boomed through the chamber. "Enough. The human envoy has crossed the line. He threatens our peace with fleets in orbit. This cannot go unanswered." Jackson Reeves stood still, unshaken. "You call it peace," he replied, "but it's built on control. Earth didn't come to ask for peace. We came to demand respect." "You bring warships," Kareth roared. "You threaten this council." Jackson spoke clearly. "Your council threatened Earth the moment you tried to chain us with lies disguised as diplomacy." Suddenly, a new hologram appeared. This one from Commander El Navarro aboard the TSS Resolve. Her face was serious. "Sir, our ships are fully visible now. Varellan defense systems are tracking us. We await your signal. Jackson looked directly at Kareth Sewell. I am not here as a guest anymore. I am here as a representative of a sovereign Earth. And in that capacity, he took a breath. I formally declare that Earth no longer recognizes the authority of the Galactic Council. The room froze. Then he added, and any hostile action taken against Earth or its vessels will be considered an act of war. Panic spread like fire. A delegate from the Porathi species shrieked, "They can't do this." Another from the Mithari Alliance whispered, "Their ships, they're real and powerful." A few even began backing away from Kareth's side. Kareth slammed a heavy fist onto the platform, the crystal surface cracking under the force. "You will regret this, human. We will wipe Earth from the stars." Jackson stared him down. "You've tried before. You failed. Try again, and see what happens." Without waiting for a response, he turned and walked toward the exit. Council guards hesitated. None moved. The path cleared. As Jackson reached the exit, he paused and gave one final statement. "Earth isn't coming to join your empire. We're coming to end it." And then he was gone. The war had begun, not with weapons, but with words sharper than blades. As the heavy doors closed behind Jackson Reeve, the Grand Assembly Hall erupted into chaos. Delegates shouted over one another. Translation devices struggled to keep up. Some leaders screamed for immediate retaliation. Others begged for calm. Fear rippled across the chamber. Supreme Archon Kareth Sewell remained standing at the center, eyes burning with rage. His fists were clenched, his pride shattered. "Deploy the defense fleet," he ordered. "Track and destroy every Terran warship now." A Zarnathi commander saluted and rushed out, but others didn't move. The Mithari representative, a silver-skinned being with glowing eyes, raised a hand. "You want to start a war against a force we don't fully understand." "They declared it," Kareth shouted back. "We must crush them now before others follow their example." "They only declared freedom," the Porathi delegate said quietly. "Not conquest." Carisps filled the chamber. Several species who had long been unhappy under the Council's rule began to whisper among themselves. Earth's bold stand had lit a spark. If humans could resist, maybe they could too. The Olucan ambassador stood. "We've warned you, Archon. Your pride would lead us to war. You ignored the signs. And now the galaxy sees that even humans won't kneel to you. You would take their side," Kareth growled. "We're not taking sides," the ambassador replied. "We're stepping away from yours." One by one, a few delegations began disconnecting from the central comlink. Their holographic banners faded from the air. Kareth watched as support slipped through his fingers. In a dark hallway above the chamber, two council aides whispered urgently. "Earth was supposed to be isolated," one said. "They were not ready for this." "They were more ready than we thought," the other replied. "They brought fleets to our doorstep and didn't fire a single shot. Yet every power in the room felt the blast." Down below, Kareth struggled to hold control. "Mark my words," he said through clenched teeth. "Earth will burn." But even as he said it, his empire was cracking. The Council was no longer united. Fear had taken root, doubt had broken its silence, and rebellion had begun to whisper. In the void above Varellan 6, Earth's warships waited, calm, silent, and unmoving. A message was sent to Jackson's ship. "Several council members have withdrawn. Internal collapse has begun. Awaiting further orders." Jackson read the message and looked out the viewport. "This was never about joining them," he said softly. "It was about shaking the galaxy." The black void above Varellan 6 was quiet, but heavy with tension. Terran warships hovered in formation. The largest vessel, TSS Valiant, stood at the center, an imposing flagship with reinforced armor, magnetic cannons, and stealth drives humming softly. Lights blinked on its hull like a heartbeat, steady and calm. Inside the command deck, Jackson Reeve stood near the main screen. His officers worked in silence, watching council fleets gathering on the outer edge of the system. The Council had launched over 60 ships in response to Earth's declaration. Their formation was tight, aggressive, and fast-moving. "They've broken the neutral boundary," El Navarro said. "They're coming straight for us." Jackson gave a single nod. "Then this is it." He tapped into the fleet-wide channel. "This is Commander Reeve. The enemy has chosen war. They believe they can scare us. They still think we are weak." He looked around the deck at every officer, every pilot, every soldier. "But we are not weak. We never were. We only waited until the time was right." The crew stood straighter, eyes focused. The fleet listened. "Hold formation. Do not fire until they cross the 1,000-kilometer line. If they do, show them what Earth has become." The line held. Council warships advanced, sleek, sharp, glowing with plasma weapons. At 998 kilometers, Jackson's fleet didn't move. At 999 kilometers, the Council ships still believed Earth would hesitate. At 1,000.1 kilometers, the first plasma blast left a Council destroyer, and instantly, Earth responded. The Valiant's cannons roared to life. Beams of concentrated energy tore through the lead ships. Missiles launched from stealth cruisers, striking weak points in enemy hulls. Council ships scattered, caught off guard by the precision and power of Earth's coordinated attack. In seconds, the battle turned. 2 enemy cruisers exploded. A Zarnathi dreadnought lost its shields and spun out of control. Council command was overwhelmed, struggling to regroup. Targeting the Archon's flagship, El called out. Jackson gave the order. "Fire." A volley of kinetic rounds and plasma bursts struck Kareth Sewell's personal warship. It buckled under pressure and went dark, vanishing behind a screen of debris and flame. Back in the Council chambers, news of the destruction arrived like a thunderclap. The mighty Supreme Archon, defeated in minutes. Panic spread across the Council. Delegates ran. Others disconnected. Some wept. The age of the Council was ending. Back aboard the Valiant, Jackson stood quietly, watching the enemy retreat. "No cheering," he said. "Not yet. This is only the beginning." El walked up beside him. "We've just rewritten the galaxy's rules." Jackson nodded. "And Earth holds the pen now. On every colony, every outpost, and every Terran ship, the same message was broadcast. Earth is no longer silent. Earth is no longer alone. Earth has risen. The war had begun, but so had a new future."